Welcome on into a live edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with the 3-2 Falcons Today channel. I don't know if a 3-2 team has ever looked as good as Atlanta. I'm going to say right now the Falcons are the best 3-2 team in the NFL. Who are the other 3-2 teams? Really quickly, right off the top of my head here. Best 3-2 teams in football right now. Falcons, Bills. Okay. Broncos, Falcons, Bills, Ravens, Steelers in the AFC. In the NFC, Cowboys. There's a lot of 3-2 teams. Seahawks, Falcons, Bucks. I think it's probably Ravens, Falcons for the 3-2 matchups.
I would argue Falcons, Ravens.
You are pandering. You are making friends in the chat right now.
No.
Reed's making me look like shit right now.
No.
Yeah, I'm messing with you.
The only reason is because they are one pass interference.
That's fair.
Call.
Yeah,
away
you're right.
from
No.
beating the Chiefs.
Good point. GP.
And so are the Ravens with one play to beating the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, but his foot was too big.
Yeah.
That's not the ref's fault. The ref's fault is the Chiefs hitting Kyle Pitts in the end zone before he can catch the ball.
Falcons.
So that's the one reason.
Falcons definitely a better 3-2 team than the Bills. All right. This Sunday, Atlanta has Carolina. What was the vow we all made together? We are not overlooking the Panthers. The Panthers have won 10 games since the start of 2022. 20% of them have come against Atlanta. So I forbid anyone from looking at this as an FCS game. We are going to try and respect this opponent. Even though they have been a joke the last 3 years in the NFL, we have lost the right to laugh at them. So no laughing at the Panthers this week. We're going to take them seriously, and then we can laugh afterwards. But let me know. Time Man the Buckeye says ATL. I've got Tabro saying ATL. Larry Armstrong, they will get more sacks as season goes on. I saw someone, I do like when people comment on our video, not just because I enjoy seeing what you guys say, but it's fun to see who comments something that's really popular and gets a bunch of likes. You know what I mean? Like, we all know those videos where there's like one comment that just gets a boatload of likes. One of those comments the other day was the Falcon sacks will go up the first 4 weeks or 5 weeks they played a bunch of mobile quarterbacks. And I was like, hey, that might not be a bad thought. And then I went through and I'm like, week 1, Justin Fields. Oh, I'll stop right there. Justin Fields in 2022 to 2023 led the NFL in sacks allowed by a quarterback. So no one else had issues sacking Fields the last 2 years, just Atlanta. Week 2, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Hurts takes a decent amount of sacks, I think, though. I don't have it like his numbers memorized, but Mahomes avoids pressure very well for sure. Week 4, they had Derek Carr. I never thought Derek Carr's super mobile. Week 5, Baker.
But their offensive line was very good.
Their offensive line is good. Yeah, their offensive line is good. Okay, we have over 130 people tuned in. We're going to have a really fun show planned out for you guys. I think you're all really going to enjoy the deep dive we do on Drake London and Darnell Mooney. So if you're a diehard fan, you're going to enjoy it. If you're a bit of a casual, you may not love it as much. But you know what? We're here for the diehards anyway. So we're going to get into all that good stuff here. Yeah, while you move that, how about we tell them all about Prize Picks? So, we have a couple of wonderful sponsors that I'm super excited to fill you guys in on today. If you are looking to maybe make some money while watching the Falcons or anyone else on Sunday, visit Gametime right now. I'm sorry. If you are looking to make some money on some football this weekend, visit Prize Picks today. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, where all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. I'm talking turning $10 into $1,000. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's show is also sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I love about Game Time is they offer the Game Time guarantee. No joke, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I love you all, so I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So like I was saying a moment ago, we've got a fun show laid out for everyone today. Get your predictions in for Sunday, Falcons or Panthers. 150 people tuned in. Quick reminder to hit that thumbs up button. Like the video, really does help grow the channel. But also, let me know where you're tuning in from. We're going to jump into a live show so you guys can see how the sausage is made a little bit. But I do like to give people, we all know who they are in our lives, the latecomers, those that look at like a, 5 p.m. arrival is a 5:15 p.m. arrival. A few more minutes to trickle on in. But shout out your city for me in the chat. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Archangel, how you doing, my guy? Appreciate you always hanging out with us. I've got David tuning in from the Netherlands. Archangel, do I see McDonough, Georgia, by wake of College Park? Edwards in Douglasville. Nate is in Hawaii. 404 Miami. I could have probably guessed that one. Caden's in Virginia. Savage is in Savannah. ATL from A-Town's Finest. Alpharetta from Boomsticks. Let's see. Kenneth is in Atlanta, Georgia. Boomsticks and anyone else in Alpharetta, I'll let you guys be my, I won't say boots on the ground, but just your opinion on a certain something. I'm looking at my email right now. What is it called? Competitive social. No, that's not quite it. What is it called? I'm trying to find where I'm supposed to have my wedding welcome party at. And I found a cool place in Alpharetta that I had not been to. Fairway Social. Fairway Social. Has anyone been to Fairway Social in Johns Creek, Alpharetta? And if so, can you give me a review on it? I did not come prepared. I had to dig in my email. Fairway Social. So would love to get any boots on the ground or boots on the ground / just in-person reviews for anyone that's been there. Okay, back to the shout-outs. Noonan, Georgia. Flowery Branch, Ronnie. What was our deal on our preview yesterday? If the Falcons do not get their pass rush turned around and they don't make a move for a pass rusher, we march on Flowery Branch. Canton, Archangel, we can look into that. Brandon is in Georgia. Gary's in Georgia. We got the entire Peach State represented pretty much. It's kind of cool to see how it goes from all 4 corners of Georgia and everywhere in between. No Reddick update just yet. We got a rise up from Germany. Ukraine, hope you are doing as well as you possibly could and staying safe. Okay, Fresno, California. So, coming up on today's show, we have the latest news and rumors, mailbag, hashtag Falcons, or Super Chat. So if you want to guarantee a spot in the mailbag, Super Chat, and we will throw your question on screen for everyone watching to see. Otherwise, just use hashtag Falcons in the chat, and producer Reed is going to pick his favorite question / whatever questions he sees first, essentially. But quick reminder, hit that thumbs up button. We have nearly 200 people tuned in, only 38 likes. We cannot get into our first segment until we get to 50 likes. That way I know we have a good pulse on today's show. Look at the whole Georgia squad standing up right now. Boomsticks, have you been there? Oh, it's a 9/10. It's really cool. Recommend the upstairs, though. Okay. It looks cool, but I don't know if it's one of those things that looks cool online, and then in person it's not quite as great as you thought it would be. So, all reviews are great. Food, drink, games, tell me everything if you've ever been to Fairway Social in like Alpharetta / Johns Creek, that neck of the woods. All
Terry,
right.
you're from Georgia, but you're in Miami right now. Did Miami get hit by the hurricane at all?
I don't think it did. I don't even know if it rained in Miami yesterday. Like, it's such a concrete path of just going right across the middle of Florida. I might have just completely missed Miami altogether. So, I'm a big airplane junkie, so I like to live on the FlightAware app. I was on FlightAware before it was cool to track college football coaches' planes. So when that became popular, I felt like they were appropriating my culture. I was like, no, I've been on FlightAware for years, and you guys just discovered it. So I enjoyed kind of looking at the hurricane and all the planes just going all the way around it. Just like it was as if it was the Red Sea. And every flight was going to Miami, everything around the hurricane yesterday.
And then you had the hurricane scientists that were in that one plane that would go in it.
Oh, I saw that plane too.
Crazy.
Yes, I saw that one too. I was like, what are you doing? And then you had Waffle House scientists helping FEMA prepare for this, which is just mind-boggling to me that Waffle House is at the forefront of hurricane, not prevention, but research, we'll call it. Okay, let's get into our first segment, though. We have 64 likes, over 200 people watching. I don't want to make you guys wait any longer. I think you're really going to enjoy this as Gary sends in a $2 super chat. All right, let's throw on Gary's super chat here, and then we will jump into our first segment. The second one's the mailbag, so get your questions in right now. #Falcons or super chat like Gary just did. Thanks for the constant updates, guys. F the Saints. Everyone spam F the Aints in the chat right now for Gary. You're very welcome. I love my job, and this is my job to keep you guys updated. So I'm going to keep them coming as long as you guys keep showing up, and I have a job here. So I think we have a pretty good deal on the table.
I'll keep building the shows, too.
Yes, and then Reed's going to continue to be the giant hamster that moves the wheel to keep everything powered and running. There's a lot. Everything that you see on screen is not there by accident. There's a lot of work that gets into it. So if we are ready to roll, let's talk all about Drake London and Darnell Mooney and how the Falcons have gotten some great, I wouldn't say like unexpected news by any stretch, but they've just been waiting for this to happen, and this has happened. And it's a big sigh of relief for Terry Fontenot and the Atlanta Falcons. All right, are we ready to talk all about the receivers on this team? We're going to get a little nerdy. We're going to get in the weeds a little bit, but I think you guys are really going to appreciate this video. I hope you do. And with that being said, hit that thumbs up button, and let's jump into a live Falcons Today. Sorry. The Falcons have finally gotten the news they have been waiting for. Drake London was well worth a top 10 draft pick, and Darnell Mooney was an excellent free agent signing. After 5 weeks, I am more than comfortable with saying this. And for some of you, you may have felt like this was true all along, but for anyone on the fence or outside of Atlanta, what we have seen through the first third quarter of the season is everything Atlanta was praying they would get out of their receivers. So I want to jump right into a little bit of a film breakdown, which I think you guys will really appreciate, just the nuances to Drake London's game specifically, and then we'll talk all about Darnell Mooney. But let's go back to Thursday night. This is going to be Drake London's touchdown. London, when I rewatched this game and watched the All-22 after that, he kind of plays the position like an NBA point guard. He's very smooth. He's very calm. He doesn't really start sprinting anything and start running himself into a corner. He's almost lackadaisical. Like, look at the other receivers. They are pretty much in a full sprint. London's kind of just jogging a little bit. Not out of laziness, but because he's about to just cross over his defender, right? It's like a point guard with a change of speed and direction. Now look at this. Kirk Cousins sees his man has beaten the defender, gets the ball out on time, on target. London wins his route with just an excellent route running ability with a great change of speed and direction. Like I said, looking like almost like Derrick Rose, for example. That was one name that popped in my head when rewatching this. But look at the next shot here. London's in a Bermuda Triangle of death. He's got a defender right in front of him, looking at him straight in the face, and two guys closing in from behind. For most receivers, this is going to be a nice play that sets up first and goal, and the running back gets the touchdown. Not Drake London. Look at this. He leverages the DB's approach by spinning on top of him, and now a fourth defender has entered the mix. It is 1-on-4, and Drake London's going to come out of this with a touchdown. That is just a play that very few wide receivers can make. Let's fast forward to overtime now. It is third down, something the Falcons have struggled with all year long. In overtime, you have to have it. Now, pre-snap, this looks a lot like man-to-man coverage, right? It doesn't seem like you've got one-on-one and the Buccaneers are going to blitz and they're going to send 6. But on third down, the Bucs, they disguise their look. They're going to drop into a zone and just rush 4. I think we often hear the term route running used very loosely. Route running a lot of the time is knowing what to run based on what the defense does and the leverage they have against you or you have against them. So Drake London, a very smart player, recognizes this is not man-to-man. This is zone. So what's he going to do? He's going to sit in the soft spot of the zone right between two defenders. Kirk Cousins, with full trust and chemistry in London, knows, okay, right after I snap the football, I noticed the two blitzing linebackers dropped into coverage. We've got zone here. I know London's going to recognize its zone, so he's just going to sit in the soft spot of the zone. Drake London on this play is going to run for about 19 yards. It's going to set up a Khadarel Hodge walk-off touchdown. But it's not possible without up here London going, we've got zone. Well, let me find the soft spot. I know Cousins is going to pick up on that, and we're just going to move the sticks, which for some receivers, would have that been a 5-6 yard gain? But not London. No, you can't take him down the first time. He's not only an extremely intelligent receiver, but physically he is so gifted in terms of his yards after the catch ability, but more importantly, his yards after contact ability. So for a lot of average Joes out in the NFL world, they thought Drake London might not have been a very good top 10 pick following his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Didn't put up fantastic numbers, never got to 1,000 yards, but despite that, Drake London has shown, give me a competent quarterback that can read defenses as well as I do, and give me the football when the time comes, and look what the numbers he can put up. I mean, check out Drake London this year on the left and what he's on pace for. Through 5 games, he already has about 40% of the entire yardage he had last year. Preseason, I kept pounding the table saying Drake London's going to be a 1,200-yard guy, 8 to 10 touchdowns. He is doing exactly that. And I'm not the only one on my knees right now. Look at Pro Football Focus. Top 10 receiver amongst his peers so far this season. The guy's right behind Justin Jefferson. He's tied with Jamar Chase. This is the category he deserves to be in. And it's a shame that it took a little bit longer than we would have hoped for to get here, and it wasn't as immediate like Jefferson and Neighbors and Chase were. But man, you give Drake London a real quarterback in year 3, and he's going to give you extremely good production. This is your top 10 draft pick you have been waiting for. This is the thing the Falcons have finally been waiting for, which is their next Julio Jones, their next Roddy White, their next perennial Pro Bowl minimum 1,000-yard guy, 7 to 10 touchdowns, put it in the bank. London has been everything the Falcons could have hoped and prayed for when they took him 8th overall in year 3. Now, we're going to talk all about Darnell Mooney in just a moment here, but I do want to fill everyone watching in on our terrific sponsor today, Game Time. You see, Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I enjoy about Game Time is they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. So now I want to talk about wide receiver number 2 in Atlanta, although some might argue wide receiver 1A for the Falcons, and that is Darnell Mooney, who is off to a terrific start this season, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns early on, and he is not looking like a number 2. He is looking like a Batman and Dark Knight combination with Drake London. Jeremy Fowler had a really interesting tidbit in his article that I want to share with you guys, writing, in back-to-back weeks, opposing teams told me Mooney was a high priority on the scouting report, a true 1A to Drake London. He's averaging 8 targets per game, including a 16-target Week 5 against Tampa Bay. That was no fluke. He gets open. He'd be a bigger name, but that was camouflaged by the Bears' uneven passing game. That's no longer an issue. When the Atlanta Falcons signed Darnell Mooney, I was really high on the player, but I was concerned about the contract because they were making a little bit of an expensive gamble. What was it, 3 years, $39 million for a guy who had back-to-back 400-yard seasons? But they knew that if you just got him out of that really crappy situation he was in with Justin Fields and the Bears passing attack, he would flourish in a consistent passing game with Kirk Cousins. And sure enough, here we are. And through 5 games, he almost has passed everything he did all of last year in Chicago. This has been an amazing signing so far for the Falcons. It is the news they have been waiting for. They nailed this signing. I mean, look at what Darnell Mooney has done in the first 5 weeks of this year compared to the last 3 years in the NFL. You could combine what he did in 2022 and 2023, and he doesn't only pass it, he demolishes it. 2 more touchdowns, about 100-ish more, 50 more yards, 6 more grabs. Darnell Mooney this year is on pace to shatter everything he has ever done in his NFL career. 2021, 1,000-yard man in year 2 for Chicago, 4 touchdowns, then some down years after that, but a resurgence down in the ATL. I am super excited for Mooney for the rest of the season, and Jeremy Fowler is right. This is no fluke. The Falcons truly have, I wouldn't say like a comparable version to Julio Jones and Roddy White when they overlapped together because they were such different style of receivers, but in terms of the threat that they pose, it's not all that different. Plus, Kirk Cousins is only going to get healthier from that Achilles injury as the season goes on. And with every week that goes by, I think we can already notice the difference in trust he has in his own body to really plant that back leg and push through the football. From week 1 to week 5, we are seeing a different quarterback. Now imagine what we're going to see from week 5 to week 10. Week 10 to week 16. Week 16 to a home playoff game. To a divisional round. To conference round. Like, it's only going to get better and better. And the chemistry between these 3 guys is only going to get better and better. So who do you think is going to have more yards when it is all said and done? Darnell Mooney or Drake London? There is a secret menu. There's like an In-N-Out secret menu here. Or when Chipotle used to have the quesarito. I don't know if they still do that, but that was an all-time hit in high school. Just say yes. And it's all the above, and you're just super happy to have 2 stud receivers right now. I do appreciate everyone for hanging out with us today. I want to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey 1222, Jason Lindino, Reese Atkins, Archangel, Angry Liquid, Jeebus H. Christ, Dictator JC, JT, Jordan C. Johnza, Ronan Tyrell, Lord Buddy Bear. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. If you want to get added to the Dirty Birds Club, hang out with us this Sunday for our Panthers watch party. And if you can send a $100 super chat in, we'll add you to the club and give you shout outs all year long. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making this video. I mean, I enjoy making every video, but there are some I like making a little bit more than others. This was a really fun video for me to dive deep in and talk all about two studs for Atlanta. So if you enjoyed it, share it to a friend. Get them to subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys next time. Who's going to have more yards? Darnell Mooney or Drake London? See, kind of an even split. Seeing kind of an even split right now. A lot of fives. Edward says 1. Time Man the Buckeye says 5. Boomstick says 1. XDJ. Well, I can't speak English. XDG Delta says 1. Kenneth Haynes. Kenneth, great to see you, guy. Saying Mooney. Brandon says 1. Jay says 5. I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney more yards, Drake London more touchdowns.
I totally agree.
How about Mooney gets like 1,250 yards, London gets 1,200, but he gets 9 touchdowns to Mooney 7.
I think.
How does that sound?
It's the only way that Darnell Mooney gets more touchdowns is if they change their plan of attack and they throw deep more. That means that Darnell Mooney is going to get more receptions and more chances at a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Mooney can get the bigger explosive plays more frequently and the big chunk yardage, but if he doesn't run it in for touchdowns, it might be Drake London who kind of becomes the vulture, right? And like the Mike Tolbert of 2012 fantasy football and scoops in for the score after Mooney gets the 45, 50-yard reception from Cousins to get Atlanta in the red zone.
I think London is choice number 1 if you're passing in the red zone.
Yeah. Jason, like kindergarten, let's share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Okay, next up on the show, we have a mailbag. So if you have any questions, hashtag Falcons or Super Chats. Super Chats are greatly appreciated. They go a long way to support the channel. So if you are able to Super Chat and you want to get on screen to guarantee a question, or it doesn't even have to be a question, it could just be an opinion or a take, Super Chat and we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see. If you cannot Super Chat, not a problem whatsoever. Just use hashtag Falcons in the chat and like the video too.
I only have a couple questions, so we
404 has a question in. Let's get some more questions in. I'm going to call out 3 names. I'm going to put you guys on the hot seat right now. A little popcorn reading style. Ready? Chris Tyler, Kelvin O'Connor, and Edward Prater. I'm going to count you guys out right now. Let's get some questions in from you 3. Walter, the Falcons suck. They are in the weakest division south. Walter, 1, screw you. 2, the AFC East would like a word. The Patriots are the worst team in football. The Jets don't look much better. The Bills have lost 2 in a row. And the Dolphins barely beat the Patriots. AFC East right now is looking like the worst division of football. The NFC South has 2 teams above 500.
The AFC North also isn't very strong.
We need
It's starting to come back. But
yes, I agree.
The Bengals stink.
Oh, yeah, well, the Brown. I guess if you add up total wins, they'd probably be last. The Browns and the Bengals combined for 2, and the Steelers and Ravens combined for 6, so 8 total wins. The South has 9, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, the Saints, they started off hot, but they're now with Derek Carr, it's not going to be on the bench. It's going to be a little different. But Panthers still stink, and then the Bucks. The Bucks are not bad, but not good enough to beat the Falcons.
Yep. Okay, we've got a mailbag coming up next. So keep getting those questions in. I can't for the life of me say this name. XDG Delta. Edward, why do we play so much zone defense and we're not getting pressure on the QB? Excellent question, Edward. Just use hashtag Falcons. Because I'm not joking. The hashtag Falcons is not like me trying to scam or scam's not even an appropriate word. It's just the software searches for hashtag Falcons in the chat. And that's what it pulls out, and that's how we can get it on screen. Assad, appreciate your question. We can get that on screen during our mailbag. are we ready to jump into a live mailbag? If anyone thinks of a question at the last moment, they're like, shoot, I really want Petey to answer this, and I don't know if Reed is going to pick it. Super chat, and we guarantee it gets on screen for everyone watching to see. Okay. Let's get into, a $5? Well, we can save the super chat for the mailbag. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's use the question that came in before the live, and then we'll go to this one. Sounds good to you? Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's get into a live Atlanta Falcons Today mailbag. Welcome on into Falcons Today mailbag time. I'm answering questions that were asked during our live show, which airs every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So our first question coming in from Danny Dorito. Any chance the Falcons trade for Max Crosby if the Raiders blow it up? I see where you can get to maybe the Raiders blowing it up with Devontae Adams going out and them looking pretty bad so far. They're not going to go this far. This is, to quote a really old World War II movie, a bridge too far. Like, this to me, I'm not going to go too far in my World War II bag of tricks here, but this is Operation Market Garden. And if anyone gets that, kudos to you. But they're not getting rid of Max Crosby. The Raiders, I don't think, are going to get to that stage of desperation, that's not a word, of desperation. I mean, Crosby has been an absolute animal this year, like he always is to open up. 5 sacks despite having a bad ankle. He has been one of the best defensive players in football, so I don't think we need to spend much time debating whether or not Crosby is a worthy trade target for an Atlanta Falcons defense that is in dire need of a pass rush. But I don't see the Raiders ever getting to a stage this year where they trade Crosby. He is the heart and soul of that team, and he's only in the prime of his career. This could be something that happens for the Raiders in 5 years if they're in the same spot they are right now. But no, I don't see the Raiders moving on from Crosby. Now, if they did, I would not be opposed to giving Las Vegas a phone call. I think it would probably cost you 2 first-round draft picks, though. I know that's steep, but pass rusher is the second most important position in the NFL this day and age. So, would you give up 2 firsts for Crosby? Let me know, yes or no. If I were the Falcons, I would look at it as, well, the way you're playing right now, your first-round pick is probably going to be in the 20s. And it's hard to find great pass rushers in the 20s. But you can get a proven one right now who's not as young as a rookie, not as cheap as a rookie, but a known commodity. I would definitely very much consider doing so if this ever were available to me. Big Falcon with a super chat. Everyone sleeps on us. Do the Falcons capitalize on our win against the Bucs? Are we the real deal? I think the real deal will come when they play the Cowboys, which is probably going to be one of those, I could see it being flexed like America's Game of the Week if it isn't already. That's a little bit down the road in terms of the schedule, but I think it's going to take for them to win another primetime matchup with an already winning record for everyone to go, okay, it's time to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think a Panthers win's going to move the needle all that much. I don't think a Bucs win's going to move the needle all that much. Probably not a Seahawks win. But the Cowboys, that might be something that raises a lot of eyebrows across the country. XDG Delta. Realistic performance for Kirk. 29 for 37 for 345 yards and 360. Drake, London, and Mooney for another 100-yard game. Defense 3 sacks and 1 to 2 picks this game. What do you think? Well, we're talking about the Panthers, so yeah, it does sound pretty realistic. You could put any numbers there, and it would sound realistic for the Carolina Panthers. But we did make a vow. We're not overlooking Carolina. Atlanta has lost the last 2 games in Charlotte, but I do think this is definitely in reach for Kirk Cousins and all of his receivers. 3 sacks. They have 5 sacks in 5 games. They are banged up on the offensive line. I'll go with 2 sacks and 1 pick. Sky was here. Do you think Penix will play against the Panthers or at all? Also, F the Aints. Everyone spam F the Aints. I don't think, obviously injury changes things, but maybe we see Penix at some point this year play the last 2 minutes. If he does get in, I'm not even sure if they really have him drop back to pass, just out of a little bit of a respect thing. If they get him in with like 7 minutes to go, maybe then, but if it's just the last 2 minutes, it's probably a couple of handoffs and some knees. But I don't think we're going to see Penix unless it's truly a big, big blowout. Like, even if Kirk's not having a good game, they're not going to pull Cousins. That's just going to create one too big of a hullabaloo when you've got a really good thing going with Kirk. 404 Love. Biggest worry for the defense this week is containing Chuba Hubbard. How do you think they take care of that with everyone stating how we have one of the, quote, worst defenses in the league? Great question. One, coming off a little bit of a mini bye with the Thursday night game should help some of those interior defensive linemen freshen up a little bit because those jobs are really tough week to week with the amount of collisions they have every single snap. Second, I would like to see maybe a little bit more of Zach Harrison in that run-stopping role. That wasn't quite what you drafted him to do out of Ohio State, but they've kind of changed his position from being a defensive end to an interior lineman. Also, we got to see a little bit better play from David Onyemata and Eddie Goldman, two of your true run stoppers. So let's watch for those two guys to have a better performance on Sunday. Or maybe it's a little bit more of the rookie out of Clemson, Rook Ororo, who has had, well, I'm about to say a slow start to the year, but we didn't see him play at all until the Bucks game, and then he only played about 15-ish snaps. So we'll see what kind of snap allotment people get this Sunday. But I think having a little bit of time off and getting some better play from Goldman and Onyemata should really help slow down Chuba Hubbard. Now, before we get on to the rest of the questions in today's mailbag, today's show is made possible thanks to all of our favorite friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Here are my selections for this Sunday. Taking the more on Caleb Williams, 235. He's thrown for over 300 the last two out of the last 3 games. Like the more on Darnell Mooney, that's a really low number. Also like the more on Tony Pollard. Bad quarterback play in Tennessee, and they're coming off the bye. Well-rested running back. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Archangel. How much does not having Landman/Anderson and Alford hurt us, honestly? So Nate Landman still, as I'm recording this on Thursday, a little iffy to play on Sunday. He's just coming off of IR with a quad and calf injury. Anderson is banged up with a knee injury that caused him to miss Thursday night. D. Alford's in concussion protocol. Missing Landman and Anderson hurts a lot because you've got Caden Ellis, one of the unsung heroes of this defense, but now you've got a big role for rookie JT Bertrand, who had a tough go against the Bucks. Maybe they can call up Rashaan Evans. If Evans is going to be, in football shape or game day shape, I'd like to see him get a shot if you don't have Anderson and Landman. As for no D. Alford, we'll get some more Clark Phillips, who I'm not afraid of or opposed to. I think Clark Phillips is a solid corner off the bench. So with him being a very twitchy and, ball-oriented corner, I think he can do a good job in the nickel position. So overall, not too concerned. Also, it's week 6. Everyone's dealing with injuries. Boomsticks. Could Ray McCloud have a 1,000-yard season? No. I don't think we've ever had 3 players on a team have 1,000 yards. Would love to see if that's been done before. And I think Darnell Mooney and Drake London can get to 1,000 yards. I think Kyle Pitts can get to 800 yards. I think Ray McCloud can get to about 500 yards. And those are all really good for an offense. Like to have 2,000-yard receivers, 800, 500. We're looking at over 3,500 yards right there. You could put together 700 more yards between Bijan, Algier, and the rest of this crew. Edward Prater. Why do we play so much defense, so much zone defense when we're not getting pressure on the quarterback? I do not like having Matthew Judon drop in coverage as much as they have done that. There's just been one too many instances of that, and there should be zero. You didn't trade for him to drop in coverage. You traded for him to rush the quarterback. This is what Raheem Morris did in L.A. So as the season goes on and as his time in Atlanta goes on, if his personnel is not fitting his defense, I hope and trust that he will make adjustments. But I think in only 5 weeks, he's going to stick to what he believes is a winning formula on defense and believe that over time guys will start to get more comfortable in their roles. Assad Hussein, is Troy Anderson our second best player on defense after Jesse Bates? Great question, Assad. Grady Jarrett. I'm going to go Jesse Bates. I'm going to go Grady Jarrett. I'm going to go A.J. Terrell. I'm going to go Justin Simmons. Probably go Simmons, then Terrell. But Terrell long term. And then Troy Anderson, Nate Landman, Judon in that tier there. Rusty Moore with a $5 super chat. I live in North Carolina, going to the game Sunday, upper level, midfield behind the Falcons sideline. Don't embarrass me, fellas. Let's effing go. Rusty, enjoy the game. I've been to Bank of America Stadium twice. I went for 2 college games, and it's a pretty mid-stadium. Probably more on the bottom half than the top half. But snap a picture, Rusty. Send it to me on Twitter at Matthew Petey, and we can get it on screen during our watch party. Last question coming in from Ayer. Are you worried at all about obtaining and immediately signing Hassan Reddick after he hasn't played or practiced for a while? This is a fair concern to have. Like, let's just, for a moment, live in a world where we get a notification the Atlanta Falcons have traded for Hassan Reddick and have agreed to a 2-year, $45 million contract extension. That's a fair thing to have a concern over with a guy that hasn't played football since the end of last year and has held out this whole time. In that situation, I am trading for Hassan Reddick to get great play out of him in December and January and February. If that means a little bit of a slow October and November, I'm willing to eat that cost if I can get great play out of him down the stretch. For me, it's somewhat reminiscent of not complete apples to apples, like Montez Sweat. When he got traded, remember the Falcons really wanted Sweat last year. He went to the Bears, and he had a great end to the season in Chicago. If you can get that out of Reddick, even if that means his first 3-4 games aren't quite the $45 million you gave him, I don't really give a damn about that money if you can go on a nice postseason run this year. I'm willing to sign up for maybe a not-so-great contract in 2026 if you can get some really good play in 2024. Might be a little bit short-sighted, but I think this team is talented enough to make some major noise in the NFC, because look around. I mean, NFC champ last year, 49ers, they're 2-3. Eagles, 2-2, and not a very impressive 2-2. Packers, 3-2. Think about the teams that were winning playoff games last year. They don't look like they're winning a whole lot right now. The door's open for the Falcons to creep in the NFC. Jump on that opportunity. So who you got for Sunday? Falcons or Panthers? I only want to see ATLs in the chat. Let this serve as a way to know who watches all the way to the end of the video. Drop an ATL if you got the Dirty Birds. And I saw we have another super chat from Grand Limousine. Grand Limousine, water cheers to you. I'm going to let the chat decide right now. Do I get a airport beer tonight when I fly to Knoxville? I'm going to Knoxville, my alma mater, for Tennessee, Florida. Go Vols. I don't want to hear anything about Arkansas last week. You guys had your Alabama moment. I have my Arkansas moment. We can agree to shake hands and move on. But I think it might be airport beer time. It's going to be a fun weekend.
I feel like it's a crime not to.
Yeah, have not been back to Knoxville since 2021. I graduated in May of 2020, so it's been a long time. 3 years. I went for the infamous Tennessee Ole Miss golf ball throwing game. But Grand Limousine, thank you so much. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. As always, rise up. Hope you're having a great day. We also have Thursday Night Football tonight, so who you got? 49ers, Seahawks. I can't wait to buy the Wi-Fi and watch this on my phone. Ooh, we love fantasy questions. Brian Thomas Jr. I DK both have a really good year so far.
I'm a big fan of Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I am too.
He's also on my league.
Well, this question's very time sensitive. I'm going to say Brian Thomas Jr. Jags might not be getting back into it, but they might be getting into a little bit of an offensive rhythm. Meanwhile, I think this is a 49ers get back on track week, and the Seahawks kind of come crashing down to earth. 3-0 start, 3 losses in a row. The Seahawks are back to the equilibrium of being a 500 football team, which they are probably going to be either a 9 or 8 win team this year. So I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. We got some SFs coming in from Time Man the Buckeye. Boomstick says Seattle. Chris B says the Niners.
Walter, you are correct. The Panthers are the worst team in football. They stink.
Panthers or I think the Patriots might be worse. I think Andy Dalton would beat Drake May and the Patriots if they played tomorrow in either city. It's bad in New England.
I mean, New England at least has an okay defense.
The
Panthers suck on both sides of the field.
I know. Here's my prediction. If we get another super chat, by the way, in a sidebar, we'll keep going. Otherwise, we do have to sign off. Plus, I do have to play to catch in a little bit. The Patriots are going to have the number 1 overall pick. They are going to trade it to the Las Vegas Raiders, who are going to select Shedeur Sanders. That is my prediction. And the Patriots are going to get a good haul back. They're going to go out and maybe get Travis Hunter. But if that happens, someone will remind me that I said this.
Is you personally, your opinion, is Travis Hunter a wide receiver or a defensive back?
I think he's a corner.
Me too.
I think he's a corner. I like the idea of playing him on offense at times, but also in the NFL, I don't know if you can like half-ass. Not that he would half-ass is probably isn't the best term to describe it, but not be 100% committed to one position in your week of preparation leading up to the game. There's so much that gets prepared for before kickoff that you don't just get out there and start playing backyard football. Like, sure you can sometimes like a little bubble screen and then it's just, mano-a-mano, but so much of it is just learning tendencies of the DBs. And if you're so devoted to being a DB yourself in the week of preparation, it's hard to be an effective wide receiver in the NFL without preparing like one all week long.
Kolb saying your picks from 2 weekends ago won him $200.
Kolb, which ones?
Which ones was it?
I have prize picks or like we're talking just general picks? Kolb, I don't remember myself winning $200. Now I'm trying to remember. I had a really good run on prize picks. So I think if you're talking about prize picks, then I 100% agree. I had like 6 in a row on prize picks. There was a heat check going on. Little bit of heat check. Will Travis Hunter be more like Cordero Patterson? Just Hunter would be either wide receiver or corner? I guess a little bit like that. The thing with Patterson was that evolution didn't happen really until he got later in the NFL. Right? He didn't get moved to running back until later in his career. Plus, he only played on offense, so not quite the same. Okay. Yeah. If we get some more super chats, we can hang out. Otherwise, I do have to sign off and relinquish the studio space to another channel trying to film videos. But I do love hanging out with you guys every Thursday. It's a fun little get off into the weekend because here at Chat Sports, we get Fridays and Saturdays off routinely because we work Sundays. So this is a fun way for me to get into the weekend on a high note. I'll read a couple more things out here. Is it just me or is anyone dumbfounded by why we can't get pressure with this roster? Like we have Judon, Grady, and Onyemata. Other teams have less impactful players getting home. I don't disagree, Jackson. Like there should be some more out of Jarrett and Judon, who are leading this team with 1.5 sacks a pop through five games so far. But for me, I think it comes down to like you're getting nothing out of Lorenzo Carter. You're getting nothing out of Arnold Ebiketie. You're getting nothing out of James Smith-Williams. Like, you need your role players to be role players. They are out there on a treadmill pretty much every single game. Okay. with that, we will sign off. I do appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us once again. Enjoy your weekend. Rise up, and we're going to see all of your beautiful faces on Sunday for our watch party.